Francisco, for that introduction. The journey to our announcement today started almost a year ago, when 2 days after the city council election, the San Francisco 49ers suddenly announced that they were abruptly abandoning discussions with the city of San Francisco regarding a new stadium, and that they were now turning their attention to our town, Santa Clara, as the potential site for their new stadium. At my house, we were a little surprised at the development. A stadium in a town of 100,000 people? As the months went on, the news kept getting crazier. Locating a stadium in Great America's parking lot? Spending $500,000 just studying the proposal? Raising money from our utility fund? Rumors of a city subsidy in the neighborhood of $200 million. So my husband and I decided that one of us better get to the next city council meeting and find out more about this plan. That meeting was the April 24th meeting, where the San Francisco 49ers presented their proposal to the city. And it was even crazier than I expected. Not only did the 49ers want $222 million of taxpayers' money, they also wanted 15 acres of land, rent-free, and they wanted the city to assume the risk of stadium operations. I was stunned, and I was angry. As I told the city council that night, if they had the political will to spend that kind of money, there were far more important community needs in this city. But I didn't stay angry. I got active. I simply wanted to bring some sanity to this discussion of out-of-control city spending. I made calls and sent emails, and through those contacts, conversations, and connections, Santa Clara Plays Fair was formed. We are a grassroots coalition of concerned individuals and organizations united in a mission to prevent the city of Santa Clara from squandering taxpayer assets on a subsidy for a professional sports stadium. Today, we have only one talking point. It's our money, and it's a lot of our money. In that presentation to the City Council, the San Francisco 49ers asked the city for a gift of $222 million in taxpayers' money to build a stadium for their use. And that's right here. Each of these bundles represents $1 million. We have 222 of them. They also asked for 15 acres of land, rent-free, of course. Those are the 15 acres of land. And they're about the same size as $4 million, about the value of the land. The city's consultants also calculated what kind of increased revenue the city could expect if it spends this much money. And that's right over there. A token return of $650,000 annually. About 1/3 of 1%. That's less than the rate of inflation. In fact, if you had this cash just sitting around at that rate of repayment, it would take you over 340 years to pay back this amount of money. But as bad as this picture is, it gets even worse. Because that's a lot of our money, and we are a small city. So let's compare this subsidy with some other recent stadium deals on a per capita basis. First, Seattle, home of the Seattle Seahawks and Quest Stadium. There are about 3.2 million people in that metro area, and they spent about $92 per resident subsidizing their stadium. The second, Glendale, Arizona, home of the Arizona Cardinals. The city is about 250,000 people, more than double the size of Santa Clara. In that stadium subsidy, the city contributed about $9 million, and the rest of the taxpayer contribution came through a county-level subsidy. So the total subsidy for a resident of Glendale is just a little higher for that of Seattle than a Seattle resident, about $117. Third, Arlington, Texas. It will soon be the home of the Dallas Cowboys. The city is about 360,000 residents, more than 3 times the size of Santa Clara. Although that stadium is not yet finished yet, they will have spent just over $900 per resident subsidizing their stadium. So it's about 8 or 9 times what these other 2 cities spent on a per resident basis. It is an order of magnitude larger than these first 2. So how does the proposed subsidy from Santa Clara fit in with these other 3? How does it compare? We have about 114,000 residents, and the 49ers have asked us for an astronomical $1,947 per resident. It's off the chart. And this doesn't include the free land. It doesn't include the risks of operating a stadium. This is just the cash up front. That's more than twice the Dallas or the Arlington subsidy. Do you remember that little song on Sesame Street? One of these things is not like the others. One of these things just doesn't belong. Well, one of these things doesn't belong in Santa Clara. And that's why we're here today. Because this and this are our money. And we want our city to spend our money wisely and carefully. Thank you for your time and attention to this issue. I'd be happy to answer a few questions from members of the press, and many of us will be around afterward to answer additional questions.